Welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hey, welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. This is Michelle Wong, and today's episode is actually a video testimonial translated to audio, or a case study that I did with one of my clients, Corinne Micklar Kaye. She signed up for one of my offerings called HD Play. In other words, human design play, and she had a great experience with it and offered to do almost like a video testimonial / case study of her experience. So we spent about 20-25 minutes chatting on Facebook Live about her experience, and I thought I would translate it and put it into podcast form so that for any of you who might be interested on HD Play, you can hear from someone firsthand. And even if you're not, like our conversation around what she learned about herself and about her own energy I think is very valuable to hear. I wanted to make sure that I share this before I wrap up season 5, as we are heading towards the end of the year, and HD Play is currently on sale until the end of the year. So if you are curious, even if you've had a reading with me in the past, if you're wanting to integrate human design more, this is how I am leading with human design. It's really a body-based approach, and you'll hear how I guide the process. Without further ado, you can listen in on our conversation. And if you want to learn more about HD Play, please check out the links in the show notes. All right, without further ado, here is the conversation. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself, and then I can share a little about HD Play, and then what made you jump in, all the things.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Corinne, and I am also a coach in the broader sense of the term. I work particularly in my life and in my practice. I work with human design. I study human design, and I also work with movement. My background is in dance and body work. And so my journey has really been with bringing the body-centered work into and combining it with the energetic work, and finding the overlap. And when I started working with Michelle, I was feeling really like there was a big disconnect for me between the embodiment work that I was doing, dance, movement, breath work, somatics, and the human design work. And I was really finding that I was like, I feel like I don't know how to marry these two all of a sudden. After being like, oh, it makes so much sense, it stopped making sense. So that's why I signed up for HD Play with Michelle, and we spent the week together.
Yeah, so I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And like HD Play, I'll talk a little bit about it, and I'd love to hear like kind of your experience in it together. So exactly what you were saying, Corinne. Like with human design, it's been a journey for me because I feel like in the online space, and like it can be very heady, right? Because there's all these arrows, all these lines, and then there's all these different layers that how can we get into the body when it's so head based? But like the irony is like with human design, it's an experiment. It's not like this is it, go do it. It's like, well, it's all around living into the experiment. Like how does one follow their strategy and authority? And my experience is like, well, I was just given all this information, or I give people all this information, and then they're like, okay, thanks. And it's like, well, how do we like make it so that it's body based? And literally, it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was doing handstand jumps on my exercise mat, my yoga mat. And I was listening to a podcast episode that was about human design. But again, it was actually breaking down like all the layers of human design. And I literally was like upside down, and I was like, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is like, it just felt very heady. And as I'm upside down, I'm like, we got to flip it and reverse it. So that was like, and I've been working with human design more body based. And I will say, like, my approach now with human design, I guess, would be the doorway, like people who want to learn more about it. And I have another client that she is brand new to human design. She just heard about it. She wants to learn more about it. I'm like, this is perfect. Because then she's coming in with kind of like a blank slate. Um, because like the more I took it into my body, the more I was like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like. Okay, I can hear myself, and all the other aspects can just unfold. Um, so yeah, and then I decided on the spot, we're gonna call it HD Play. We're gonna put this together, and I'll see who might be interested. And then you jumped in, and then afterwards, a few other folks jumped in, and I'm like, okay, this is like, I think people want this. So anyway, thank you, Corinne. Yeah, so HD Play is 5 days. We work in audio, either WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, so that it saves, all of the chats are saved. And then it's an experiment. I look at your chart, and then I do kind of an intuitive download of what I feel and how we could take it back into the body for this person. So yeah, what was your experience like? Like, what was like, I guess, kind of, so you were saying the before was, how do I marry the two together? Like human design, and then all of your movement, and all those layers, because yeah, your approach is body based, but how do you integrate that? So what was your experience in HD Play that helped you?
Yeah, so I think the thing is, as someone who is an HD practitioner, an HD teacher, what was happening to me was I I felt like, well, what if someone asked me a question? Like, I need to know everything about the chart. I need to be
Mm.
familiar with all of it, so that if I'm supposedly guiding people on human design, I need to know the chart like really, really well. And I think so that's, my where I'm coming from. And then just from being someone who uses human design, so whether you're teaching human design or just using it in your life, um, it can feel like, in order for me to do this right, I have to like really know my chart. I have to really understand what everything means, and I don't want to have any blind spots about it. And what we really did together was, one, we stepped back and simplified, which that is, if you listen to any foundational human design trainings, that's what it is all about, right? It's all about the strategy and authority, always. But it's so easy to like be like, okay, yeah, but I'm ready for more. I'm ready
Yeah.
for more. Like, and um, I think the biggest thing was in our time together. Well, one, I had a deep realization about myself, because your advice to me. So I'm a manifesting generator with a
Yes.
sacral authority, and the advice that Michelle gave me was to really slow down, was to really just feel, slow down, listen. And what really happened was, I didn't realize how quickly I was moving. And this is where I feel like a coach or a mentor, a facilitator, a practitioner can be so helpful, because it can, for me, it was like, no, 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 I'm really aware. I'm spending all my time like being aware. But actually, I had a blind spot. And so when I was like, okay, so can I slow down more than I even think that I am? the biggest realization for me was like, oh my God, like my system is flooded. My system, like all my open centers, without getting too into the specifics of that, I just felt like there was this energy of flooded. And that it was almost like if you I'm like imagining my sacral being like the bottom of a sink, like the drain of the sink, and it's like I can't even, like, what's even going on down in my sacral? Like there's too much stuff. And so the slowing down really gave me just a minute to kind of like be like, have the feel how much there was a lot of erratic energy happening in my body. And then from that place, we were able to actually start to kind of go back and really feel the essence of where I'm meant to move from, where my wisdom is, which is in my sacral. And then from there, it was like, oh, I can look at my chart and I can still use my chart, but I can ask better questions that are going to lead me to more like actual helpful realizations rather than more confusion, more distraction, which is where I felt like I was when I came into the container.
That is so good. I love that. And yeah, I have to say, like the slowing down piece, that has been a game changer for myself. And um, I offer that a lot to people because it's like we can't tune in to what's happening until we do slow down. So like it's not a surprise, right? Like when we just kind of like, oh, and then sense what's happening in our bodies, things start to light up. And sometimes we need a reminder for that. So I love that that resonated with you because I think for myself, I have so much resistance to slowing down that it was a game changer for myself, among other things. But I mean, that's like the first layer. And I'm glad that for you, it was like, oh, like when I did it even more, it was like you had blind spots. And now it's like, okay, things are starting to come back because I can filter and decipher what's happening. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, we had some conversations about what is the work that you do and that you identify as a space holder.
Mm-hmm.
And that this container is really nice for that. It's a really nice place to just come in and get a fresh set of eyes on your design, like how you're really meant to be interfacing with the world, where your strengths and gifts lie, and then also just getting feedback from you was really helpful. So I would definitely recommend this. I would recommend this container for just like it. To me it feels like you're open to a surprise. Like I
Mm,
wouldn't recommend this container as like I'm looking to find this answer, like
yeah.
I want to get the clarity on this in a week, because that's like you're gonna get clarity, but the whole point is that it's surrendering into the wisdom of your design, and
Mhm.
then the clarity that you need will come. So coming into this container of just being like, I want a refresh, I want to reset, I want to see things differently. That's really what, from my experience, I would recommend. If that's your goal, then this is a great space.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. And what was the other thing? Oh, and for people who like to talk.
People who like to talk. Yes, if you like to process orally,
This is the space to be.
for sure. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add? I so appreciate your time and offering to do this. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really excited about this. And I think, one of the jokes we had in our container was like, it's called a body graph. It's not called a mind graph.
That is so true.
you know
I love that.
and so
Yeah.
it is really um it is really helpful helpful to, as cliche as it is to simplify and slow down, like very cliche advice.
Yeah.
But to really do it, and I even think for me, I'm a very energetic design. I have 3 motor centers defined. I have a lot of energy inherently, consistently, and I have pulsating energy as well. I have a defined root and heart for people that know the chart well. And so for me, it's like, it's, there's, I can slow down a little bit and be like, oh yeah, but then slowing down is a consistent practice that takes maintenance, because I even noticed a few days after leaving the container, like we fall back into old patterns. And so even if, like I say, even if you think, no, I'm practicing slowing down, odds are that you could feel more. I don't even want to say slow down more, but like you could center more.
Yeah.
Because our lives just lend themselves to the opposite. Our modern lives, just, they push us all into fast forward mode. And so doing this in space and support is really, I think it's really invaluable.
Yeah. Like, you know, if we want to be like facetious about it, it's like you're paying for the container to be guided to slow down. I mean, I'll look at your chart and, you know, I have some tidbits, but like that's where we're going to start, because that's how you're going to tune back into your body. It's like, how are you going to do that? It's by being aware of what's happening. So whatever language, you know, like you said, centering, like coming back in. I mean, that's been pivotal for me. It's been pivotal for you, and some of the other folks that I'm working with. Um, you know, our world moves so fast that we can miss things, that's inherent for us and our innate wisdom. So, and then the container is really like, you know, you can ask questions, and definitely the space holding, the processing, like that's how I work. So it's like, I guess you know, I attract the people that also work the same way. So
Yeah, I feel like you can't go
can't
wrong.
go
So
wrong.
yeah, it's a really fun space, and it's a really great way to, whether you want to explore your human design more, whether you want to explore more body-based, somatic, there's so many embodiment, different, you know, types of terms. It's such a good little sampler, because it's only a week, you know, like it's such a great way to just be like, I think I want to try this, and there's not a lot at stake. It's just a week. And yeah, and then like I say, it's like coming into it as like, I wonder what could be revealed for me.
I love that question. I wonder what could be revealed for me. Oh, I love that.
Then
Oh,
you don't have to
thank
work
you so
so
much.
hard too, right?
No, that's the thing. I think it's like there's this pressure of like, how do I make my chart work? It's like, it doesn't work like that. Like you'll fry your brains trying to make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to work as hard, which again is also cliche.
Yeah.
Let it be
Yeah. In
easy.
general.
Let it
Yeah.
be simple. Slow down. It's like, yeah, I've heard all that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. It's like blah, 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 blah. And
If it
it's
worked, I'd
like,
be doing it.
I think the funny thing is like when there's that, okay, I checked in, and suddenly there's like, oh, I got this idea, I got this hit. Then you can move, you know, like, and then we can move at a pace that feels good. And then we'll know it's like, oh my God, I went so fast that I totally like lost myself in that process. I was totally in my head, and like, I don't even remember if I ate lunch, you know, like, I think like the more we have that discernment, it just, I don't know, it's just a little smoother. Things come in a little bit more smoother. It doesn't mean like you're a turtle your entire life, you know?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think it also just creates, there's a ripple effect of centering, that creates more, you become like a real force for calm, for
Mm.
peace in your environment, in the people around you, when you're able, because Because what happens when you can slow down? What happens when you can center, slow down, listen in a container like this is, that is strengthening a muscle that eventually you can do it when you're confronted by something that would normally send you into a nervous system overload response of like fight or flight kind of thing. Because when you practice this, then you can actually take it into real world scenarios and keep your cool and make better choices. And just for me, what's so important, something that I really desire to be, is a real beacon of like peace and strength in the room, so that people, when they're in my presence, they feel at ease because I am at ease. And that's something that I desire to bring. And I'm not always that. Sometimes I come into the room like, blah, 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 like really like up here.
Yeah.
Energy is really up here. And it's like, whew, bringing that down. And so that's, I think, another thing is this is kind of a nice little incubator to practice that. And then you can kind of see in your life, then you have contrast. You're like, ooh, actually, I could really feel that I responded to that situation up here in like this. I feel like it's like this kind of, it's like chest up energies.
Yeah.
Versus what it really feels like to when I do a lot of my breathing work, I always talk about the lower back ribs, really like pulling everything down into that lower back body. That's like it's almost like, if you think archetypally, because I love archetypes of like, it's that queen, it's that throne energy, it's that solid energy at your back.
Ooh, I love that
holds you like really in a space of centeredness. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but just the idea that when you practice this, even if just for a week with Michelle as your guide, you can start to feel, you get discernment of like, you can really fine tune yourself. And I think that's where that I think makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Fine tuning,
it makes sense
that
to
ability.
me.
Yeah, that ability and then you can see like, and of course you, like I say, it's a practice, it's a constant thing. So you're not going to do HD play and then be like, all right, it's cool, like I'm in my body, it's good to go,
and all the time.
but you get to feel what it is like to be. And then you can, and if you don't know the feeling, then you don't know where you're going. But once you felt it, then you're like, okay, I can get back to that.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I so appreciate you.
I do too.
Yeah. So, do you want to share a little bit about like how people can learn about your work and if they want to play with some of your movement practices? And
yes, thank you. Yeah, so right now I'm running every month. I do a Move with the Moon, and Move with the Moon is a somatic embodiment practice. I do it on the new moon. I've played around with doing it on the full moon as well, but honestly, that energy isn't really feeling quite right. The new moon is really feeling resonant for me. And so what we do in Move with the Moon is I send out an email with a small lesson. It's usually under 10 minutes. I'm not an astrologer, so I just talk about the moon, the energy of the moon from the basic astrology. And then also I do incorporate the human design gate that it's what's the word I'm looking for?
transiting?
Transiting. I was about to say transferring, but it's transiting. So I talk about those two pieces, which is nice because it gives a little, like, you get a little touch of, there's 64 gates in human design. So we just like touch on one a month. It's like a nice little intro.
I like that.
And then I do about a 25-ish to 30-minute embodiment practice. It's guided, it's to music, it's based in dance, and mostly Move with the Moon is really based in modern dance and also gyrokinesis, which is a movement system that I'm certified in. and we move for 25 minutes. And what we do is we really feel the essence of the intention setting, of the clarity. And what I always like to do is I really am asking in the movement, what is the message? What is the intention that I'm setting? What is the feeling of this next moon cycle? And then I also really love to work with the moon in 6-month cycles. So for example, now we're going to be moving into a Scorpio new moon this month. And then what I do is I track my new moon intentions. And then when we get to the Scorpio full moon in 6 months, you can kind of see, and what I've really noticed is the intentions that I set, the direction that I point things, I can really see these patterns unfolding. And so it's a very feminine practice in that way, because it's like, it's not this instant gratification kind of quantum leaping type of work. It's really saying like, okay, like I am setting myself up for a longer cycle of growth. And so that's what we do together. So it's really fun. It feels good. I like to work a lot in the sacral chakra. So there's sensual movement. So it's really awakening to that feminine Shakti energy.
So good. So good. Oh,
so
if
you're interested, just come and find me in my profile. You can shoot me a DM. Right now, I'm doing it free until the end of the year. So there will be 2 more this year. And then moving towards a little bit more of a supported container.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And yeah, this will be on the podcast, so I'll put your links in the podcast.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And then, you can pop links in the comments if you want, for those that are listening to the after party. And then for HD Play, I'll put links below. Right now it's on special until the end of the year, and the next year it goes to regular price. So if people want to snag that is available. Thanks so much, Corinne. I so appreciate your time.
And if you happen to be listening in 2024 and you are interested in doing Move with the Moon and you did hear about it from Michelle's podcast, send me a message on Facebook or in any of the links that Michelle provides, and I'd be happy to hook you up with a little promo code to get in there and give that a try.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yay! All right. Thanks so much, Corinne.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. Bye.
Bye. To help you feel more supported and nourished in your body and nervous system, you're invited to download the free I Am Supported meditation in the show notes. May you feel grounded in who you are as you become the fullest expression of yourself. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing with those who can benefit. Until next time.